Good morning, all of you. So, welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. Today, we're going to discuss about user-defined functions. Okay. Normally, we use functions like getDate, dateDifference, dateDiff, and finding the length, finding the space, increasing the space. All of them, there are many functions to do that. To do that. Okay, so we have used functions like getDate, dateDiff, all of them we have used many times, but all of them are system-defined functions. Now we are talking about can we create a function that is known as a user-defined functions, also known as UDFs. Okay, so however SQL Server is providing to us, can we also create a functions and call those functions inside our programs? For example, we say select get date. So we are able to use system defined function, or we can say select star from account master where date diff equals to some statement. So we are able to use the function inside the where clause. Okay. So we can also say delete customers where the date difference is this. Okay. For example, I would like to delete old customers who has, the age, the account age is greater than 10 years and the status equals to O. That means delete from account master where date diff blah 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 and status equals to 6. That means I'm able to use my functions in a insert statement, in a delete statement, in where clause, in update clause, wherever I would like to use, I can use the function. Okay. So, but all of the functions I have used, those functions are called system defined functions. We were talking about get date, date diff, etc. Okay. Now, apart from that, then people ask to Microsoft saying that, as a developer, I would like to also create a function. Can I do that? Then SQL Server said in SQL Server 2000, Microsoft has given user-defined functions. Okay, which was the user-defined functions topic, which was very old concept. Okay, but earlier to that, SQL Server 7.0 did not had user defined functions. SQL Server 2000 onwards, the UDFs got introduced. Okay, so just like system defined functions, you can also create a function and you can also use them. Okay, now when people talk about user defined functions, people would ask why is that I have to go for a function. And let us discuss and types of the functions which are available, and how do we create a function and how do we call the function, and what are the features available for functions. Okay, the first thing is that people would tell you, I would like to call the function as part of the select statement, or I would like to call the function as part of the where clause or update or delete. Okay, I would like to use that. Or of the table. I don't want to, insert the data in a table. I don't want to update the data in a table. I don't want to delete the data in a table, but I would like to read the data of a table. Can I use a function? The answer is yes. Okay. Perform arithmetical operations on the given data. So definitely you can go in for a function. To get the data using parameters, you do not support parameters, then only you can, go for a function. Okay. Then people would ask, when is that you have to go in for a view? When is that you have to go in for a stored procedure? That when is that you have to go in for a, these questions are definitely asked in the interview. So to retrieve the data, you can write a query. But when you write a query, queries are simply, the raw material to retrieve the data. But you have to keep the query somewhere. That's where views are there. So when you create a view, what happens is the query gets saved, and whenever you need the view, gets the data. View is nothing but a virtual table or nothing but a query only. But apart from that, there are many other things. But when you want to retrieve the data from SQL Server or from Oracle or from DB2 or from any other RDBMS, you have starting from view, you can read the or get the data, or you can write a stored procedure, or you can go for the function. Only these three things are available as part of database objects. If you want to retrieve the data, either you can go for a view, or go for a stored procedure or go for a function. But there are many interviews people would ask these questions. So when is that I have to go in for a view, when is that I have to go in for a procedure, when is that I have to go in for a you know stored procedure, when is that I have to use, and when is that I have to go for a function. So you have to be very clear on this. There's definitely many questions in interviews you cannot answer them. Okay, so let us understand when is that I have to go in for this, when is when is that I have to go in for that, and let us put some serial numbers or need not. Okay, so let us understand. If I want to get the data by using a query, I don't want to do anything. Okay, simple select statements only I would like to write, and instead of writing a query, for example, you retrieve the data by using a query. That means you don't want to use any kind of any kind of other operations, only you would like to read the data. That time definitely you can go in for a view will have a query. That's it. So what is that? Select star from account master where branch id equals to br1. So every time I'm getting branch id1, branch id2, branch id3, branch id4, like that. So definitely you can create one view for branch id1, one view for branch id2, another view for branch id3. So these views you can create many, then you can assign it to users. So if branch br1 executive is there, he can read only br1 view. If executive from branch 2 is would like to read branch 2 data, you can create another view, and definitely you can give that view to the branch 2 executive. Okay, so if you have read data using a query, then definitely you can go for a view. Okay, okay, what is the advantage here? You can write all the queries and say complex queries also you can put, so there is no issue. So normal queries, if you read data only using a query, either simple query or the complex query, then definitely you can go in for simple query or the complex query. Definitely you can go in for a view. Okay. Now, apart from that, what is that you can do with a view? With a view, you can insert the data in a table, you can update the data in a table, you can delete the data. That means using what is that you can do? Using a view, you can insert in a table. Okay, and you can update data in a table. You can delete data in a table. So using a view, you can perform all these operations. So you have to be very clear on this. Okay, using a view, update the data, you can delete the data, you can do many other things. You can also read the data if you want to read the data. So all of them. So select the data, or you can also read the data. So definitely using a view you can do that, read the data from a table. Okay, but what are the limitations of a view? What is the limitation? Are there any limitation or low limitation? There are few limitations. What is the limitations? Let us understand. Limitations are the other points. Limitations are views definitely do not support what is known as parameters. Okay, views do not support parameters. For example, I would like to pass br1 value and get the br1 data. I would like to pass br2 value and get br2 data. I would like to pass br3 value and get the br2 data. Definitely do not support parameters. That is the limitation of a view. Okay, but when is that I can go in for a view? I would like to write a simple query, and or I would like to perform all the complex queries. But the limitations are do not support parameters and do not support programming. What means programming means it will not support if else nothing, declaring a variable, nothing can be done. So do not support programming. This is also one limitation of a view. If they do not support programming, definitely you cannot achieve complex programming. Okay, so you can write a query. Apart from that, you cannot do anything. You cannot put if else, You cannot have parameters, you cannot do many things. That means you have a limitation for the view definitely. What is the limitation for the view? View definitely do not support parameters. That means you cannot supply value to the view, you cannot get value from a view. So, views always can print something, that's it. So that is the limitations of a view. Okay. Now, whatever be the reason, and views, cannot be used for many things, because the big problem is you cannot use, cursors in a view, or you cannot use if-else statements in a view. You cannot use while loops or for loop in a view, or you can use anything. Many things cannot be used in a view. That means there are a few limitations. But I would like to get data, declare value, apply if and else, and do plenty of things. Then definitely you have to look for another thing. The other feature is called stored procedures. Okay. Now stored procedures are very very good. It supports queries. It supports not queries. It supports all DML operations which supports, and which supports all DDL operations which supports, and which supports programming. Okay, this is also supported, and which you can call another SP inside ASP. That means inside a stored procedure you can call another stored procedure. You can call another function. You can call a UDF. What is UDF? User defined function or system defined function. There is no, or you can say call another function in a stored procedure. You can use cursors. That means there is no limitation for the stored procedures. Stored procedures, will support all DML operations. What do you mean by all DML operations? Which will support select, then which will support insert, then which will support update, then delete. All of them are available here. Then all DDML, create, alter, drop, truncate, many things are available here. And programming, all, so programming is available. If, else, loop, then switch cases, anything, each and everything is available here. You can call another stored procedure inside a procedure. Then you can also go for, you can also call another function inside this function, and you can use also cursors. So you can use, nesting of, functions, procedures. Many things are available. There is no limitation here. Okay. So procedures are definitely very, very good. But these guys also have some kind of a problem. What is the problem here? The limitation of the procedure. Let us understand. One more good thing about the stored procedure is which will cache the execution plan. Told you about caching execution plan. Okay. So because of this execution plan caching and reuse next time. Okay. So cache the execution plan, reuse next time. That means what? When you first time calling the stored procedure, that time which will cache the plan, second time onwards when you call the proc, which will not create a execution plan, which will use the existing execution plan. Hence, procedures are performance wise faster than any other statement. Okay. SPs are faster. Why they are faster? Because they store the execution plan. That's what we have to be very clear with. Okay. So all these are very, very good. And one more thing you need to understand, these supports, SP supports what they support? They supports parameters. Supports parameters. So that's what is, it supports, which supports input parameter, then which support output parameter. Both of them it supports. So all these are, things we have to understand. Why is that I have to go in for a cursor, or why is that I have to go in for, go this one. Okay. So which will support input parameter, which will support output parameters, everything you can understand, which will support output also. Okay. Output parameters, input parameters, all of them are available here. But even though it is doing so many things, but this also got some kind of limitations. Okay. So let us understand what are the limitations of stored procedures. Okay. So definitely this is what you need to understand. Stored procedures always need to be called using exec keyword. So execute, then you have to say sp name here. Okay, so you have to say sp name. The problem with the limitation stored procedure is you always use exec command to execute. You cannot call sp as part of select, insert, or select, insert, delete, or update. So this is the big limitation for the stored procedure. Cannot call sp as part of the select statement, insert statement, delete statement, update statement. Because of this a single reason only, we need to have anything. Here I cannot, I can call as part of the DML operations. I can insert data, I can delete data, I can update data, read data, everything I can use. But the problem with the views are you cannot, use programming, you cannot use, input parameter, output parameter. All of them are the problems with this. But the the good thing is you can use wherever you would like to use it, but you cannot pass any parameter, you cannot write complex programs and everything by using a view. Why? Because which does not, support a programming. But the good thing is that if you, write complex logic, complex queries, then definitely you can go in for a view. And that's it. So limitations only, you can have, which is simple because it will have only queries. Okay. So then do not support programming. Do not support programming. That is the limitations of a view. Okay. Then you not to understand, if to overcome that, then definitely I need to have another feature. The another feature called stored procedure. Stored procedure can support, insert, update, delete, select everything, DDL operations, programming, call another SP, call another function, use cursors, cache execution plan, SP are faster, SP supports parameters, input, output. But limitations is only two limitations. Always you need to use a stored proc by using exec call. Cannot call SP as part of the select or insert or delete. Okay, that is definitely a problem for the stored procedure. Okay, so if somebody asks what is the difference between, view and SP, you have to say. Then why is that I have to go in for a function? Okay, what is that function can do? That function, supports only select. That's it. Select or read data. In a function's body, no insert statement, delete statement. That means what? Using a function, you cannot insert data into a table. Using a function, you cannot update, data of a table. Using a function, you cannot delete data of a table. So, but what is that using a function you can do? Using a function, you can only read the data. That means the big limitation now you can understand here, you can perform insert, update, delete, select, but functions can support only the select, but not functions cannot insert data, function cannot update data, function cannot delete data of a table. This is the a limitation of a function. That means what? A state of the table. That means table cannot be changed. State of the table cannot be changed using a function. So this is the big limitation of a function. You have to be very clear. That means a state of the table cannot be changed. What do you mean by state of the table? You cannot insert the data in a table, or you cannot update the data in a table, or you cannot delete the data in a table using a function. But what is that you can do in a function? You can only read the data. If you want to only the read, then only you have to go in for a function. And after reading, what is that you can do? After reading a data, you can perform complex arithmetical operations. Okay, if you want to perform complex arithmetical operations, or you would like to use some kind of a programming, then definitely you have to go in for a function. So the big limitation you're able to see is procedure can insert data, View can insert data, but only the problem with the function is function cannot insert the data in a table. Procedure can update the data of a table, but function cannot do that. Procedure can delete the data of a table, but function cannot do that. What is that function can do? Function always reads the data and make complex arithmetical operations. Okay. If you want to make complex arithmetical operations, read the data, do some minus plus here and there, then you can also programming. Programming means what? You can use variables, all of them you can use variables, use cursors. Okay. So all these things are allowed. There is no issue here. Okay. But the problem is, we cannot insert, we cannot update, we cannot delete. So that is the, okay, this one. So what about the parameters? So function input parameters. Functions have input parameters, but functions do not have parameters. How does this returns the data? That is a question people would ask. This will use what is known as a uh, instead of output parameter, function will use what is known as, it will use return statement to return the data, to return the data. So this is another thing you need to understand. So function definitely cannot use, do not have output parameters. Functions use return statement to return the data. But what about a procedure? No, procedure cannot use return statement to return the data. Procedures can always use output parameters to return the data. That is another limitation you have to understand. Okay. So the limitations you're able to understand. What is the limitation here? The limitation of a function is here. The limitation of a function is no insert, no delete, no tables data. This is the limitation. So definitely this is the limitation. And when is that I have to go in for a function? If people say, I would like to, get some data from a table, then do some kind of arithmetical operations, then I would like to, read the data. That's it. I cannot insert into any other table and I cannot do anything. Only for the reading purpose, you should be able to use, a function, but you cannot do anything else. But the good thing is that, okay, cannot call SP as part of the select, insert, delete, update statement, but this is a strength. What is the strength here? For the strength of the SP here, are the the advantages of SB here are, you can call SP, okay, you can call SP, you can call function, call user defined functions as part of the select, insert, delete, update. Okay. So this is a advantage for you. So you have to be very clear on this point. What you have to be very clear? The clear in the sense, inside the function body, I cannot use insert, update, delete. I'm talking about inside the function I cannot have. But when I'm using, so insert into a table and I can say get date. So normally, you would have seen these kind of statements. I would be, I would have written. What is that? Insert into EMP values. I would say like this: 1, comma get date, like this. So like this. So now you may have some other values also. I'm not just filling it. I'm just putting a dot 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 here. Now you are inserting the data in employee table, but you're using a function. This function insert the data. But definitely inside a function you cannot have insert, but you can call the function as part of insert, or you can call a function as part of update. So you can say update, say account master, set blah blah blah, where you can say date diff equals to some 0. That means what? Using update statement, you are able to use function. And using insert statement, you are able to use function to insert the data. But inside the function, for example, when you create a function, inside the syntax of a function, you cannot definitely have a insert, update, delete. But as part of, insert, you can use function. As part of update, you can use function. As part of delete also, you can use function. So delete, from say account master table, where you can use some date diff function you can use, and calculate something. If that is true and if equals to 10, you delete this. So that means what? Delete operation can support, where operation can support, everybody will support functions. But functions body does not have insert, update, delete. But if you write like these statements, definitely this will support. So this is the beauty of our functions. But this kind of, you cannot have a function here. For example, you cannot have a proc here. So I cannot say, for example, I have a proc here. I cannot say, exec sp1 here. So this is invalid. Okay. So or I cannot say where execute and sp1. So this is definitely invalid. So that means what? A function, a procedure cannot be called in a where clause, or a procedure cannot be called in a insert, or procedure cannot be called in a delete here. I cannot have a proc here. Okay. So these are the limitations, of the proc. You have to understand. I would like to use a function inside, insert. I would like to use a, my function inside, update statement. I would like to use my function inside a delete statement. Then definitely you have to create a function only, or you need to go for a view, because view also you can use it here. There is no issue. You can also use view here. You can also use view here. But the problem with the view is you can also use view. You can update a view, you can delete from a view. All of them, supported in views. But the problem with the view is you cannot perform arithmetical operations and delete. Okay. And if else and delete. So that's where again there is an issue with the view. But procedure, you can use insert, update, delete, everything. But the proc cannot be used in a insert statement, in a update statement, in a delete statement. That's where the sp fails. Okay. Now the only thing you have is, the proc can call UDFs as part of the insert, update, delete, and select. Okay. But the limitation of this one, which will not support, no insert, update table, tables data using a, as part of the body of a function. Okay. These are the limitations of a function. Okay. People would ask, what are the differences between stored procedure and function? You have to say clearly. Stored procedure can support all of actions, but functions cannot support. Stored procedure will have execution plan, function does not. So no caching of plan here. Okay. So you may have caching here, but there is no caching here. Okay. So no caching and nothing can be available here. So that is also one more thing you need to understand. Okay. So okay. No, execution or cache execution plan. These kind of things are not available and no cache execution plan. Okay, all these facilities are not available as part of the function. Okay, but use variable cursors, all of them are available, but which cannot support output parameters, which will support input parameters. So all these are the points you have to make understand. When in interview, if they are talking about when is that I have to go in for a function, when is that I have to go in for a view, you have to, or when is it I have to go in for a procedure, or okay, take this table, you can understand, so you can compare easily. So you have to go in for a function when you want to perform arithmetical operations only. Okay, you cannot insert data, you cannot update data, you cannot delete data. You read the data of a table, then simply you perform some arithmetical operations, then you display the data. That's it. Okay, and this function I would like to call as part of insert, as part of delete, as part of update, then definitely you have to go in for a function. If my thing is that I don't want to, use my procedure as part of insert, update, delete, then definitely you can create a proc and you can call the proc exec sp and that's fine for you. Okay. So and you have to be very clear when is that I have to go in for a view, when is that I have to go in for sp, when is that I have to go in for function. Function you have to use only if you want to use a function as part of the select or insert or delete or update. If this is what is your thing, then only go in for a function. And functions always use functions for what? Complex arithmetical operations. Okay, this is good to perform complex arithmetical operations. Okay, plus minus using those operators. Okay, and if this is the case, then only go in for a function. Otherwise you go for a stored procedures only. Why so procedure? Because procedures are faster. Okay, only one limitation with the procedure is this. What is this? This is the proc. You cannot call them as part of insert update select. Okay, otherwise many 80% of the time people would go for sps only, but 20% of the time people will go for functions. So in a given database, production database, you will see lots of procedures than the functions. Okay, because functions only you need to perform arithmetical operations, but you cannot insert update delete, right? So that's where you are restricted if you use a function. So that kind of restriction is not there in sp. So you can see 70 to 80% of sps in a given database, a 10% of functions, and 10% 20% views. Okay, so you can find many procedures because procedures are faster. Why these are faster? Because of storing an execution plan. Clear? So you have to be very clear on this. Now, do not want to change the state of the table, perform arithmetical operations on the given data to get the data using parameters. You do not support data, then only you have to go in for a function. What are the types of functions we have in SQL Server? We have scalar value function. Scalar value means single value. A function returns a single value, then the function is known as a scalar value function. For example, get date. Get date always will give you a today's date. This is a single value. So it is known as a uh, scalar function. Get balance. So when you go to ATM and ask for a balance, you will get only your balance. So balance is also single value. Hence, it is an example for scalar. Scalar means a single value will be returned from a function. Then inline functions are nothing but view with parameter. View does not support the parameter, but how do I overcome that? Then you can use a function. This inline function is similar to view, but only thing is that which extra supports a parameter. What parameter which support? Only input parameter it supports. That's it. And if you want to return data using a function, you have to use a return keyword parameters. Then definitely you have to go in for inline function. Only select statement supported, not programming supported. That means what? Inline functions cannot have if else blah blah blah. You can have only one select statement. That's it. Okay, hence it is called a view with parameter. The third one is called multi-statement table valued function, used for complex requirements, programming cursors, call space, all of them can be allowed. So this is a, if you want to write complex logic, then go in for the third one. The first one also supports if else and everything, but first one a limitation is a single value which it can return. One will can return a table to you, or which can return a multiple values to you. That is multi-statement table valued function. Okay. Now already we discussed the difference between stored procedure and a function, view and a stored procedure, function and view. So all of them we discussed. For this slide, you can just refer these notes, the Excel notes, and proceed further. Okay. Now example for functions. So I would like to create, this one. I would like to get the balance. So definitely getting a balance, you can go in for, because you can read the data. That's you don't want to do anything. If you want to read data, definitely you can go in for a function, because function needs a parameter. So you will give your account id, and which will give you a scalar value. What is a scalar value? Your balance. Okay. uh, The next question, the next example, beautiful example is generate a automatic vehicle registration numbers at the time of inserting a row into the table. So this is a beautiful example here. You have to use what is known as a function only. If anybody asks in interview, give me one example where I had to use a function, not anything else. Okay, that's where definitely the second example will give you a this one. Okay, now tell me, vehicle numbers always will have like this, uh, or any other numbers. For example, you're going for a movie. How movie tickets will be there? A1, then A2, A3, blah blah blah. Then last ticket would be A14 or A10. Let us say we have, so it will be like this. Then B1 in movie theater, B2, B3, then is over, then C1, C2, C3, then dash 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 C10. Like that, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, like that it will be there. Okay. So when you issuing a ticket to the customer, you supposed to allocate a number. The number could be A1, A2, E3 or E1, E2, E3, E4, E1, E3. Okay. Now, this is the example. You have to insert these numbers automatically in your table. So, let me create one table. So, I am creating a table called, customer table. So, I am taking, so the seat number, then name of the customer, cell phone number. When you fill in this data, for example, Ravi booked a ticket and some cell phone number for Ravi is this. When Ravi books a ticket, automatically one number automatically need to get inserted here. So now if you use identity property always will take pure integers, but I have a string also. What is a string? I have not integer, I have A1. So this is a string A1, A2 or vehicle numbers also. Vehicle numbers AP05 KA 568 or like that. The numbers are will have not pure integers which will have strings. Definitely, I cannot use identity property column because identity column will increment 1, 2, 3, 4. But I do not have identity property. Now my data type is character 3 or character 4 here. Okay. Say character 4 here. Now, how do I do the data here? The simple thing you need to understand is you have to, if you want to insert the data into this table, so what is that you have to do? You have to say into cust. You have to use a function. The function name say, let me write, say that the function is name is, seat number. Seat number is the function name. You have to use a seat number function. Then here you will say Ravi. Okay. Here you say his number. Automatically, this is the function, this is a user defined function which you have to call or which you have to create, on your own. So automatically it needs to find A1, A2, A3, A10 is over, then automatically this function has to have a logic to start with B1, B2, B3, B10. One B10 is over, then this function has to have a logic. It has to start with C1, C2, C3, C10. If it is over, then it is to start with D1, D2, D3 like this. Okay. So now you need to write a function. Use the function inside the insert statement so that this function is going to insert these kind of values inside this table. Okay. You will get first customer will get A1, second customer will get A2 like that. This is a beautiful example, the best example where I have to use a function. So this is the best example. You write a function and you try to insert the data to this table. Okay, this will give you very good, practice for you to understand. Okay, so this is how you have to use. Seat number is the function. Function means always you need to have two brackets. So if you don't put these two brackets, this is very, very wrong. Always you have to use two brackets. If you have two brackets, that is a function. Okay. Let me, this is the example, generate automatic vehicle number or seat number at the time of inserting row into a customer table or into another table. Okay. Best example for when is that I have to go in for a function. Create a function name, input parameters, returns and data type as begin, return scalar value, set of rows. So this is the syntax of a function. So how do we create a function means create function name, input parameters. So always you have to say returns. What is that you are going to return? If you're going to return integer, you have to say returns int integer, returns money, returns this one. Okay, then begin and you need to put return scalar value or set of rows. One statement you may return or set of rows also you can return. This is what a simple, example for this one. So how do you call a function? You can call a function using parameters. Declare at the rate x money, select at the rate x get balance. What is get balance? Get balance is a function name. This is a parameter. What is a parameter? For 101, what is the balance that you are getting into a variable that you are printing it. So this is one way of calling a function. Or call the function using DML. Select get balance 101 or select star from get balance 101 or select from get balance where balance equals to get balance. So delete. So you can use in select, where, delete, everywhere you can use the function. So, okay. So this is how you can call a function. So let me create a small function and show you. Function. Create a function get customer balance account ID. You are giving an account ID and which returns the money. So you have taken begin, declare at the rate balance money and select balance equals to clear balance from account master where ACID equals to at the rate ACID. When you give 101, 101 balance will be stored in a balanced variable and using that you are returning. So you have to return is the balance. So you have, so hence you have to use money here and you have to use at the rate balance. Okay, this is how you have to create a scalar function. It's very simple. So how do you call this function? To call select DBO function name. As part of the wait clause also you can use or using a variable also you can use. So let me create this function quickly and let me show you. Okay. So let me copy this and go back to here. And I think not account master. I have a table called a master table. So what are the columns? Alt F1 to see the columns. Alt F1 to see the columns. I have C balance, not the clear balance. So C bal control C. I put like this. I'm just changing this. So create a function. You have to put function prefix or if you don't put also no issues. Get customer balance. Pref F5. Now this gets created in iBank database. Let me go to iBank here. Now refresh iBank. Now if you go to programmability, expand the programmability, we have functions. We have stored procedures. We have functions here, go here, and you have scalar value, table value, aggregate function, system functions. There are many things. So let me give you. So inside the scalar valued functions, you should be able to understand this. And if you want to modify, go to modify, then you can see the syntax. This is your syntax which you just now created. So this is the one. Now, how do I call this function? Once you create, then this syntax, this word, this you don't need. How do you call? Simply say select, take this function here. And this function accepts a parameter, right? So we know that there is a parameter here. What is the parameter which is taking? Which is taking a 101 or 102, whatever it is. Now inside the bracket, I have to provide 101 here. So F5. So the customer balance is this much. What is 102 balance? 103 balance this much. Okay, like that. 105 balance this much. 900 rupees, like that. Okay, so this is how you can call. Give DBO, this will not work. We have to be very clear that DBO means database owner. This is a schema. that have to be given in front of this DBO dot. Okay. So for functions, DBO is compulsory. What is DBO? The DBO is the suffix, the prefix. That is mandatory. Otherwise, you will get errors. Now see, you are getting errors because DBO is not there. So you have to give DBO dot and execute. Clear? So this is mandatory. This is using a select statement you can do. So now select star. Can I use like this? Like this. I'll provide 101 here. So the from which will get some data and that data is displayed to you. So answer is not. Okay. But can I do like this? Okay. In from clause, scalar functions cannot be used. But can I use it in the where clause? Okay. So account master, a master, then where I'm using C balance equals to this balance. Now this takes a parameter. This takes a parameter. So now let us execute this. Now the what is the this will give you this one. Okay. So this one will get substituted here. So this one will get substituted here. So wherever you have balance equal to this, get me the data. That is the meaning of this. Or you can go for this. So that means what? This will get executed first. This will give you a you know select. Okay. This function will give you this value. This value got substituted. Copy this and this will get substituted here. Control V. Okay. Now, if you say, then this is going to execute. So this is the meaning of that. So if I say 105, so what is 105 balance? 105 balance is 900. If I have 900 anywhere, so that balance you can get it. For only one day. Sorry, this is not this one. So here you can have. If you have, so this will give you 900. So wherever you have 900, you will get. But fortunately, we have only one customer that with 900. But if you have another customer also, you will get with the 900. You can try this. So this is how you can call a function. You need to put DBO there. So select where, or you can also use a variable and declare at the rate balance, select at the rate balance DBO function name and print at the rate. This is another way of calling the function. This is example for a scalar function. Okay. So inline function example. So create a function, uh, function get branch customers branch ID. So this is the best example for inline functions. Inline functions are, view with a parameter. That's it. So this is my data. So inline functions, how do I identify which is a scalar function, which is an inline function? You can understand. If you see only a single, value, that is scalar. If you see only one SQL statement here, nothing else, then this is simply a inline function. One SQL will be there, then one input parameter will be there, one or two input parameters will be there, and only one query will be there. If you have only one query and after return, you will have only one query. If you have a single query, then you can say this is a inline function because inline function will have only a query. Inline function do not have programming. Inline function cannot have anything. So you can say this is a syntax of inline function. Create a function, function get branch customers. BR2, BR3 so that which returns a table because you will get lots of data that you're going to return table here. So always you have to use table here. So you have to be very clear. Inline functions always will have return data type is a table. So this is table only. And always you will have a select statement. If you have a table here and you will have a single select statement here, then you can say this is a inline function. So F5. Table name I need to change. What is the table name? A master table. So execute. This is fine. Execute, come here, refresh it. Now, it is now placed as part of the table valued functions only, but even though it is called table valued functions, you have to say which is inline function only. Inline function which has only a query, which does not have anything. Now, how do you call this? Now, call inline function select star from DBO fn get branch customers br2. Note, need to call the function in from class as it is returns table variable. Okay, so not it is, it returns. Okay, you can call like this only, so not any other like that. Okay, let me take this and go here and call that function. You can just comment this line. So br2 data, a function name I have to call. Now I am getting br2 data only. So where is br2 data here? So if I give br1, I should be able to give br1 data. If I use br2 or br3, f5, I'll get br3 data. Okay, this is a function with a parameter and which returns a simply a table. So this function does not have anything. So this function is known as what? Inline function. So how do you see the syntax of a function? Sp underscore help text. Okay, we have to say function name. What is the function name? Help text to see the body. So this is also, you can get the data like this. If you want to drop a function, so drop function name. If you want to alter function, alter function name. If you want to see the schema of the function, you have to use this. Okay. So definitely you can go in for this. Now go here. So this is the function you are able to write. Okay. Now inside here you can have only a select statement, and here you need to have only the table. So this is the best example for the inline function. Inline functions always need to be called in the from clause only as it returns the table. Okay. So like that, a simple example for inline functions. The next example for table valued functions. Okay. So let me take a table valued function and let me explain this. I'm going to show you. Create a function get customers. So I am creating a table variable here. The other day I was talking about table variable. So you have to use table variable inside, function. What is a table variable? Table variable is nothing but it is kind of a temporary table. Okay. Now create a function account ID. You are getting the data account ID. You are getting some columns. Okay. You are taking account ID, account name, clear balance. So let me say C balance. All the data you are storing and you are getting the data and storing it here. Account ID, account name, and everything. And to store these values, you need this structure. So we have to create it at the rate X table, at the rate TMP table. This is a, variable. So what is this at the rate TMP is a table variable. This need to have a structure. What is the structure? I am getting three values from here. The structure also need to have same thing. You execute this, you get the data. The data you insert into table variable. This is table variable, the columns. Okay. So when you execute this, what happens is this will get executed first. The data is got inserted into table variable, and this TMP is it will get returned. That means this will be given to you. Okay, this is a this one. Okay, for inline functions you need to use only table variables. Table variables are very important to store data. and you need to create a structure for the table variable, and inside this body you can use if else, everything can be done. But you need to understand, sir, we are able to use insert here, but you have to be very clear. You cannot insert data into a table, but you are inserting data into a variable here, not the table. Okay, so you cannot have insert statement. That insert statement you cannot insert into account master table, transaction master table, like that. Okay, you can have insert, delete, update, but the restriction here is that you can always work with a temp tables or temp variables. Okay, but not on the original tables you cannot insert data. Okay, so that's what is you need to understand. So I've created this. Now how do I call this? So let me also table valid functions like this. Select star from DBO, so that you should be able to call this function. You can use, insert, update, complex logics and everything here. There is no issue. Now execute this. So I'm able to get this one. That's it. Okay. Now go here and refresh. You will get one more function also here. Okay. Get customers branches. Now you can see all the variables, but only few limitations you need to understand with the functions are do not support output parameter. Functions always gets returns the data using a return keyword. SQL routine, that routine returns a value, cannot modify global database state. So that means you cannot insert, update, delete from data of a original table. Can be invoked from a query using execute statement. So you can use execute statement. Okay, create, alter, drop function. Okay, you can call the SP using execute statement. Okay, you can also call an SP, call SP with execute statement, alter, drop function, and optional mandatory parameters. You can have, what is optional? If you want to have a parameter, you can have, otherwise also no problem. Okay. So scalar valued if returns a scalar data type, table valued if it returns table data type. Okay, inline function, table valued function defined with only single select statement. Multi-statement returns table type with column and data types. Okay, these are the few core differences people would ask. Inline functions always will have a query, and multi-statement returns a table type with columns and other data types. Okay, this is multi-statement. Multi-statement supports if-else programming, but inline does not support programming. Okay, so this is the end of the functions. Functions are very simple to practice, and I have given you one homework. Please practice that. What is the homework I have given you? The seat number for the user. Okay, that's what you have to please practice. Okay, what is the disadvantage of a function? Disadvantage of a function is the function cannot as a function's body or the schema of a function cannot have insert, update, delete statements to insert the data into original tables. Okay, so that is the limitation. That means you cannot change state of the table in a using a function. So that is the limitation. The questions you have, guys? Okay.